Hello everyone, I just wanted to do something a little different here in this video, kind of do a live narration here of how I'm going to troubleshoot this Acer desktop. This is an Acer AM3100, 3 gigs of memory, 500 gig hard drive, DVD-RW, standard, probably Windows Vista. I think I haven't even turned it on yet. They're saying it doesn't boot. It powers up, but it doesn't boot. So the first thing we want to do here is, have a look at the interiors. I've already taken these screws out here, so we'll have a little look inside. We'll just slide that down and pop this guy open. Okay, well, one of the things that the customer is really concerned about here is the fact of his data. He's worried about the data on the hard drive here more than anything. So, I need to do a couple of things. Usually what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pull the power supply, which I'm going to do eventually here. But I usually pull the power supply from the machine, from the desktop, and I'll actually open it up and look for bad capacitors. And also, just looking here at this, all the capacitors on this motherboard look to be okay. All the capacitors here look okay. That's important. That's the first thing I check. Bad capacitors means game over. There's no sense in troubleshooting a machine that has blown capacitors. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to check this hard drive. Okay, so since he's very concerned, our customer here is very concerned about the data on this hard drive, the very first thing I'm going to do here is go after that data. Don't know if there's a problem with the hard drive or not. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to fire this baby up and let's get that data pulled off of there. So we're looking at we got a monitor here plugged in. Looks like we got a PS2 ports. I'll go ahead and use for a mouse and keyboard. We'll plug this baby in there, and I'm going to use a Cronus. I'm going to use a Cronus to actually do a clone of this drive. Let's pull this data off. See how it goes. Okay, so I've gone ahead here. We've got a mouse and keyboard here plugged in on the PS2 ports, the power, monitor, which I have here. And we just rest our keyboard here. My mouse is here. Also have my Cronus disk ready to throw in. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and power this thing up, and we'll try to hit the F12 key for boot options. So we'll fire it up. Let's see. Yep, F12. There's Acer. The Acer logon screen. And okay. Now we're at this point. So I'll go ahead and just throw in. Okay. Now already at this point, their DVD drive does not open. So this is going to pose an issue right off the bat, and it happens. Okay, so I have my external optical drive plugged in. I got my Cronus CD in there. I've booted up to the hit F12 to boot up to the boot menu. Let's select a CD-ROM here. And there we see our Asus drive. So let's see if we can boot into that. Now I've also have plugged into first is my external USB toaster. Some techs like to call them. Basically, this is just a external device that holds 2.5 and 3.5 SATA hard drives. That plugs into the computer via USB, which is plugged in, and this is powered on, and I have a 2.5 SATA drive in there that I use for a spare drive that I use for cloning. So we're going to see here if that's on and running, which is important. So a Cronus picks up on that drive, and we need Acronis to pick up on this drive. So basically here, what I'm going to do is boot to the CD drive here, and boot from CD, and there goes Acronis is now started. So we'll go ahead and let Acronis load. Okay, and we'll also take note that our DVD drive here is not usable. So we be sure the customer knows that. I'm sure they do. We'll start Acronis True Image, and then we will proceed to, hopefully it'll see both drives. That's real important, because if it does see both drives, then getting the data off of this drive is probably gonna happen. Okay, we're at this point now where we select what we want to do here with the Acronis. I personally like the clone, doing the clone. That's just how I do it, but you can also pick your own backup, incremental backups, or you could do an image of the drive or whatever. But I just flat out clone the disk. That way there's no issues of knowing exactly what data needs to be backed up. I back up the whole drive. So we'll just click next here. It's going to analyze partitions, and let's hope our drive is being seen. So it looks like it is. We have SCSI drive, which is the 500 gig Western Digital, which is in the computer, and we also have the 500 gig hard drive disk 2 here, that is the USB that we have plugged in. So this is good news. We have both drives showing. It wants us to pick a source hard disk, and that would be the SCSI drive that's in the computer. So I do have that selected. Hit next. Now we want the destination hard disk, which it's already selected for me. The USB is my destination. We'll hit next, and then it confirms that I want to delete the existing partitions on the destination drive. I have somebody else's clone on there, which I'm through with, so I'll go ahead and delete those partitions, and then we will continue to tell Acronis to go ahead and clone the Western Digital drive that's in this computer to the external drive this via USB. Okay, Acronis now asks to confirm. It shows me what my drive will look like before cloning and after cloning, which that also helps me determine that I am cloning the right drive. Okay, so apparently there's 3 partitions here on the drive that's in the laptop, in the desktop. So we'll go next, and then one last time, it's going to show me, give me a rundown of exactly what drive we're cloning from and what drive we're cloning to, and the procedure it will take. I'll hit proceed, and we are now cloning from this hard drive in this computer, this 500 gig Western Digital. We are now cloning over to the external Seagate drive here in my toaster, and this is all done outside of the Windows operating system, which is what I prefer. I didn't have to go through the trouble of taking the drive out of the machine. I did have a CD drive problem, but we corrected that with an external CD drive. A little less work on me. I mean, I could have taken this drive out and mounted it into my data recovery computer and done it that way. But, save myself a little extra step. This hard drive turns on once in my shop. I get the data off. That way, it's a safety net for my customers' data. I take no chances, because hard drives can die at any given moment, especially if they're showing signs of going bad. So it looks like, and we'll check this clone when we're done, but it looks like this is going to be successful, and we'll go in and check for customers' data once I've completed. Well, basically what's going on here is about an hour has gone by so far, and Acronis has stopped responding. Not really stopped responding, but the cloning process has come to a halt. Now I am feeling very confident that this hard drive is on its way out. So the cloning process failed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep it running. I don't want to keep shutting this on and off. The more times you turn on and off a hard drive that's failing, the higher risk you take in it not coming back to life. So what I'm going to try now is I'm going to try booting into a Linux CD and see if I can't manually drag over some of my documents, files, important information that I think may be important to him. And from that point, maybe that's in my opinion, the next easiest step to take. So this clone failed, which is not good, but we'll take the next step in trying to recover my customer's data. Okay, so I have my trusty old version of Puppy Linux. Go ahead and just pop that in to my external optical drive. And so basically what we're going to do now is cancel this operation. So we're going to have to power down the machine. Power it back on. Boot option menu again. CD-ROM. The Asus, which is my external drive. So now we're booting into Linux. We'll let that load. I'm going to keep this external drive on. For one, I want to see what all it pulled over the clone. I don't even know if it's readable, but we're still going to use this drive to pull over whatever we can using Linux. Alright, so Puppy has loaded here. Very good. We see our drives are mounted. The one that says USB is our external toaster. And there are 3 partitions, the SDA1, SDA2, SDA3. Those are the 3 partitions that we saw on the hard drive that's in the desktop. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to look in our USB drive first. And we're going to see what all it pulled over, and this is all that it pulled over at the moment. If we try users, public, there's nothing in here. Desktop, nothing. Pictures, nothing. Let's go back up here. Default, there's nothing in documents. So yeah, there's really nothing that got pulled over. From what I can see here, here's a factory.bat. I hope that doesn't mean they did a factory restore on this computer. There, your Windows folder. Looks like System32's in there. There's all the System32 files. So the operating system looks like it got pulled over, but the users and the data doesn't look like it did as of yet. So let's close that out for the time being, and let's take a look here. This is there's 2 large partitions on this. Both of them NTFS 228.1 gigs. Let's try this one here and see if we can find any important information. Let's see, documents and settings might be where we want to start. Here's users. Users. We have owner and we have public. So let's try owner. Okay, this is looking a little better here. We have some images. Very nice. Let's try desktop. Very nice. We have some Craigslist listings. Okay, so it does look like the data is available. So what I'm going to do here, let's look in documents. Okay, yep, these are TurboTax was one of them that he was very interested in and needed. So we're going to go ahead and pull these files over. Show you how to do that. Pretty simple with Linux. This is my USB external, and what I've done is I have created a folder here. Like I said before, all this other stuff is what the failed clone pulled over, which wasn't what I needed really, but I just created another directory here in Puppy Linux on that drive called Doug, which is my customer's name. We'll just pull this window over here. Then I'm just going to basically take the documents folder here, which I think is one of the most important document files to him, folders that is, and I'm just going to drag it right over to the Doug folder that I created, and I'm going to say copy. So that's going to pull everything over, and hopefully without errors. Now I do realize, guys, that there's other ways to do this. Fab's auto backup can probably be used to pull off all the important stuff off of this drive. So this is just one of the ways here. This is how I'm doing it this time around. Like I say now, I'm definitely suspicious of this drive since the clone failed. So hopefully when I pull over this documents folder, that's everything my client's going to need. I'll probably give him a call, let him know what I found, make sure there's no other data that he needs off of this drive. And from this point, I'll probably go ahead after this is done and we'll go ahead and remove this drive and test it externally on another computer just to triple check the fact that we know that this drive is on its way out with other tools. So we'll do that next. Okay, so basically what I've done here now is I have taken the hard drive out of the computer. I've put it in my toaster, which is hooked in a USB onto my Windows XP laptop, and I use this solely just for testing hard drives. The reason why I'm using this old XP machine is because I use tools that run on XP like Crystal Disk Info to test this hard drive with, and I also have a Steady State installed on this computer, which every time this computer reboots, it resets itself back to the first day I install Windows. So that way, if any viruses jump from hard drives that I test onto my bench machine here, my hard drive bench machine, all I have to do is reboot the computer and I'm back up and running from the day I install Windows. So that is the main reason why I use this old Windows machine to test my hard drives. Now, in this particular case, Windows can't even mount the drive. So it can't even mount it. So that's telling me straight up that that there's definitely an issue with the hard drive. So we're going to go ahead and replace this drive, and it can't mount, so we got to be really lucky that we were able to we got to feel really lucky that we were able to pull any data off this drive. My start menu doesn't even work anymore. So so yeah, this hard drive is definitely toast. It was on its way out. I got lucky. I was able to pull data off of this drive. I will charge my customer accordingly. So we will go ahead and put a new hard drive back into his computer, and I'm going to do a quick test on his power supply here too. I'll show you guys here in a second, just checking for bad caps in his power supply, so we be sure that that's not going to go out anytime soon. It's a proper way to diagnose computers, I think. Hey, look here, we got a start menu. Yeah, I'm not going to go any further. I can't even move around in here since plugging that drive in. So anyway, we'll take it to the next step. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here now is we're going to remove this power supply, and we're going to open it up to just to double check and be sure that there's no blown capacitors inside the power supply. Now this is a really quick diagnostics of the power supply. It doesn't take long at all, and I think it's a good idea if every tech did this, because if this your client's going to spend the money to have you fix this computer or fix the virus or change the hard drive or install a new operating system, what have you. And if you don't check this power supply, you know, they could pay you, take it home, and 2 months later the power supply dies. So, and that makes you look really bad, because it makes the customer feel like you've taken their money. So with this, it's not 100% guaranteed that the power supply is going to last, but it's definitely an extra step you can take, because if you've seen blown or bubbled caps in a power supply, you can pretty much bet that power supply is on its way out. So just real quick, I'm going to pop this out and open it up and take a quick look. Okay, I have here the power supply that came out of this desktop computer, and if we can try to get you to see here, there is one bulging capacitor, and it's right there. See if I can get it looking there a little bit better. Yep, it's that one right there. You notice how the other one up there is flat? The one down here at the bottom of the screen, it's slightly bulged. That the customer needs to be notified of that. Now see, if I didn't check that, this power supply could literally die or malfunction any time now. So I'm very glad I looked at that here. Let's see if we could change the settings and get you guys even a closer look. Yeah, so pretty much we're going to have to price out a new power supply for this machine also. Yeah, that's about as best as I'm going to get. It is bulging. That's a flat one there. That's a bulging one there. The customer must be notified of that. And that's just that quick, you know, and easy it is to diagnose a potential problem with your power supply. And potential problems, you know, after the customer takes their computer home. So we'll just price out a power supply for him also. Okay, so I've got the okay from the customer on a new power supply. So I have me a Diablo Tech here, 350 watt PhD series. Should be good enough. It's a good little power supply. We're just going to pop this thing in, hook everything up, and get this baby rolling on a new hard drive. Okay, so we got our new power supply in here. Got our drive. Got our optical drive. Got our new 500 gig hard drive. So we'll go ahead and start plugging everything in. Let's get everything plugged in. We'll probably go ahead and install Windows and see what we got here. Okay, this is the one that goes. So we'll just tie this one back. Cable management is very important when dealing with desktops for airflow. I take great pride in my wire management with our 20/24 pin. Probably go ahead and get that plugged in. That's going to go right there. Let's just move these wires over here to this side. So I think that's power to everything. We got our 4 pin CPU plugged in. We got our 24 pin motherboard plugged in. We got our hard drive with power plugged in, our DVD drive with power plugged in. So that's all the power is necessary. Our fans are hooked up to smaller pin connectors on the board. So that's pretty much everything we have to plug in. So now we just kind of tidy this thing up with a little bit of a wire management. Not that anybody's going to see them, but it just opens the case up. You know, things can breathe a little better. It does look nicer in case somebody does come in and look at the case and want to look at anything that I've done here. So we just kind of tuck some items back like so. There's another one, we'll tuck it back here. Okay. Tell you what, the best thing to do before we zip tie all these wires up is to go ahead and test our new hard drive and our optical drive that we have in here in case we need to pull anything back out. So that's what we'll do now. We'll test everything. Ready to test everything before we tidy everything up. We'll just hit the power button here. So we do have fans, we do have lights. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get into the BIOS. And we're in the BIOS. So we're going to look in the BIOS here and see, make sure our hard drive is being seen. Okay, BIOS standard. So there's our Western Digital SATA hard drive, and there's our CDRW drive. So it looks like now everything is being seen. So we're just going to go ahead and turn this off, and then I'll proceed with cable management. Okay, so with my cable management here, I'm just going to basically just take these wires as they are. They're tucked away as much as they possibly can be, and zip tie. Now sometimes, you know, I'd be worried about the color of the zip tie. If this computer had a window on it where people can look into it, you know, I might choose maybe like black. We'll just let it be with white. Like so. Alright. Then we'll just nip off the ends. Like so. And it's really up to you how neat you want to be with them. But given the case that this is just your standard Acer desktop. There's really not much more I can do too much with these, so I think we'll go with that. Doesn't look too bad at all. So from this point, we've got a new power supply. We've got a changed out DVD drive. We've got a brand new 500 gig SATA hard drive. We have switched all that out, power supply too, and tested everything. All fans are working, hard drives recognized, CD drives recognized, and that is, in my opinion, the proper way to troubleshoot, diagnose, and you know, repair this model desktop computer. And that pretty much goes the same for most desktops. I mean, some will be different. Some will have 2 hard drives. Some of them might have a RAID. Servers have, you know, RAID cards. So they're different scenarios. But in general, I think that's the proper way to troubleshoot a desktop computer. So from this point, all we do load Windows, do our updates, provide security software, functionality. And from that point, it'll be a job well done. So hey everyone, rate and subscribe to my feed if you like this video. Also, visit my newly launched website, www.timscomputerfix.net. You'll love it. So I hope you enjoyed this was kind of a live video here. Actually, I'll show you. Yep, hope everybody enjoyed watching this video. And until next time, we'll see you soon.